I can buy myself flowers, talk to myself for hours. That's me. I can't take myself dancing. Where's my coffee? Coffee. Where's my coffee? Where'd it go? Oh. Got it. I was heavily concerned about that. Hello Shiny Baes, hello besties. I am so excited for today's video because I thought about it last night and I was like, this video needs to be made. I need to make it right now. And I thought of books and I'm really excited and I feel like I picked a really good selection. I need to share this with you. I woke up today and I was like, hoppity hop in the shower, gotta get ready, gotta get this video done. So here I am. I don't know how to explain all of that to you. I'm basically gonna tell you a popular book that, at least in my opinion, is pretty popular. I've seen around a lot of times. And then a book that resembles that one, that reminds me of that one, that is a little underrated. Now this is all opinion based. Like some of these popular books could be something you haven't seen before and some of these underrated ones could be something you've seen before. But in my opinion, I feel like it's really popular books and then underrated ones. But again, kind of opinion based. Well, it's my channel, so my opinion is the only one that matters. This is not a democracy. These are all books I love. I highly recommend all of them anyway. And please search for trigger warnings for all of these books. So first book I have today is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This is a very popular book, the first book in the Off-Campus series. And I think if you read this book and you like it, you will really like Blindside by Candy Steiner. Blindside follows Clay and Gianna and it's to a POV. And this is a college sports romance, just like The Deal. The reason why they remind me so much of each other is because they both follow a very popular sports guy and then a very smart, shy girl. Both of them have fake dating and both of them is boy falls first. And both of them are very funny and very lighthearted, but also have some serious topics in it. So I think if you like The Deal, you'll really, really love Blindside. A little bit about Blindside. Clay is a football player, like I said, and his girlfriend breaks up with him. Enters Gianna. Gianna is trying to get this guy to notice her, but he's never noticed her before. So her and Clay strike a little deal that they're gonna fake date so that the guy can notice her and his girlfriend can be jealous and get back with him. They start fake dating, this little ruse to get these other people to notice them. Kind of like The Deal where Garrett starts fake dating Hannah so she can get the guy to notice her. And then of course the fake dating doesn't work, as it never does. But I say if you like The Deal, you'll really, really like Blindside. Highly recommend. Then I have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, one of my favorite books of all time. And I would say if you like Archer's Voice, you'll really like Fractured Sky by Katherine Cowles. Now this is a book in the Tattered and Torn series, but they're all interconnected standalones, so you can read it separately if you'd like. And this one's my favorite book in that series, and it's also the last one. It follows Shiloh and Ramsey, and it's dual POV, and you get to see both of these characters go through so much and deal with it together. He is very cut off from everybody else in town. He doesn't want anything to do with anyone. He keeps to himself. Nobody talks to him. And that reminds me a lot of Archer. Archer is very soft, whereas Ramsey is not. Ramsey is definitely I hate everybody but you, and Archer is a very misunderstood soft boy, but Ramsey is just as misunderstood, except he's grumpier, you know? But both of them give off the same vibe of, you know, nobody get close to me, very cut off from everybody else until that one person comes along. And for Archer, it's Bree, and for Ramsey, it's Shiloh. Both of these have a little bit of strangers to friends to lovers. Both of them have a lot of trauma, a lot of like bonding through these characters. Both of them have characters that went through so much. So please search up trigger warnings for both of these. And both of them are amazing. Both very emotional, but also have some lightness to them. Both small town. Like I see so many similarities between these two books. If you like Archer's Voice, I really can bet that you'll like Fractured Sky. I think. Archer's Voice is still one of my favorite books of all time. Fractured Sky didn't top that, but I did see the resemblance, you know? Now I have Wait For It by Mariana Zapata, one of my favorites, and if you like this book, I guarantee that you'll like Meet Me Halfway by Lillian T. James. These books are the same. They're literally the same. I don't even know how to explain it. Both of them are slow burns. Both of them are single mom and grumpy next door neighbor. Obviously, Wait For It is one of my favorite books of all time because you guys know I love MZ, but I love Meet Me Halfway. This was one of my 5-star reads. Meet Me Halfway follows Garrett and Maddie, and like I said, she is the single mom that moves in next door, and he's the grumpy neighbor who starts falling for her in the family, and that's exactly what happens in Wait For It. Both of these are really heavy slow burns. I would obviously say Wait For It is more of a slow burn because MZ is slow burn queen. They both have some like trauma in the past as well, whereas Diana is like from something happening in her family. Maddie is a toxic ex. Both of them work so hard. Both of them are very strong single moms. And then both of them have that grumpy guy who just gains a soft spot for the mom and for the kid. Like I said, nothing ever tops MZ for me, but I rated both of these 5 stars, so I would highly recommend. Next, I have more serious ones, and that's All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. I think if you like this one, you'll really like After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. After I Do follows Lauren and Ryan, and literally both of these are a marriage of reconciliation, marriage in trouble type of vibe. In All Your Perfects, you have Gwen and Graham, and they're going through a tough time. They're not doing their best in their marriage, and you see them kind of try to get through that, and you see a little bit of their past and stuff as well. And then in After I Do, you have Lauren and Ryan, and they basically have been married for a long time, but things are going horribly for them, and they decide to take some time apart and not talk and see if their marriage is even worth it anymore. So both of these are very heartbreaking. After I Do is so sad, but also so beautiful, so bittersweet. So many parts of this book I wanted to scream, but also I loved the story. I loved the quotes. I think Taylor Jenkins Reid does a great job at doing like women's fiction and combining it with romance and just taking you for such a ride through these characters' eyes. Yes, if you like All Your Perfects, I feel like you'll like After I Do. Next, I have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This book popped off. Everybody and their mothers was reading it, and for good reason, because it is so good. I think if you like this one, you will love Mine Would Be You by Kay Jamila. Mine Would Be You follows Jackson and Nina, and it is friends to lovers, and it is very much slow and steady incline of their relationship. It's a very realistic book in the sense of the girl isn't ready yet. She's getting over a past love, something that happened to her, and he is patient as hell and waiting for her and just there for her as a friend until she's ready. I think that the only reason these remind me so much of each other is the guys. Like, Icebreaker has a lot of spice, whereas Mine Would Be You does not. And Icebreaker has more story, whereas Mine Would Be You is more character-based. But the reason why they give me the same vibes is because they're both reverse Grumpy Sunshine. Both of them, the girls are very reserved and very like not wanting a relationship, not wanting to put themselves out there. And then you have guys who are really patient and really want to be there and really just obsess over the girl, and they're very sunshine. Definitely the vibes of these two. Jackson is literally the most sunshine boy I've ever read about. Like, if you like reverse Grumpy Sunshine, you will love Mine Would Be You. There's not that much story to it, but the book is beautiful. It's so character-based. If you like plot-based books, I don't know if you would love this, but the characters are astonishing. I love how patient he was. I just adored feeling their love through the pages, if that makes sense. I haven't felt this way about a book in a really long time, where I just didn't want to put it down. So Mine Would Be You, I would definitely recommend. And if you like Nate and Stassi, I really think you'll like Jackson and Nina. Icebreaker is way funnier. Like, Icebreaker is more light. It has more plot, like I said, a lot more characters involved, whereas Mine Would Be You is really heavily just focused on Jackson and Nina and their story and their growth, but they give me the same energy, if that makes sense. Now, the next one I have is if you combine 2 books, they remind me of one. So it's Luna and the Lie and Colty by MZ. If you put them together, they give me Forbidden by Carla Sorensen. Forbidden is the last book in the Ward Sisters series by Carla Sorensen, and I only read the first and the last one, and I maybe will go back and read the second and third one, but you don't need to. It's interconnected standalone, so I would highly recommend reading this one because I really liked it, and I did not like the first one, so we'll see if I read the rest. Anyway, this follows Isabel and Aiden, and it's dual POV. The reason why this reminds me of Colty and Luna and Lie is because in Forbidden, you have Aiden, who is a fighter, and after he retires, he buys a gym. And Isabel is the manager at that gym, so he becomes her boss, and he also happened to be her favorite fighter when she was younger. She had a huge crush on him, she loved him, and now he's her boss. And that's why it reminds me of Colty, is because in this book, Sal is obsessed with Rainier since she's a kid because he's her favorite football player, and then he becomes her coach. So she's like, oh my god, my celebrity crush from when I was younger is now my coach. And that's the vibes in Forbidden, because Isabel feels the same way. And the reason why I put Luna and Lie is because it's a grumpy boss-employee relationship, and it's a forbidden love kind of thing, and that's exactly the same as Forbidden right there in the name. So I feel like if you like both of these books, you'll like this one. This next one is also combining 2 books that I feel like a lot of you have read. So if you have read Beach Read by Emily Henry and You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hoggle, you will probably like The Co-op by Tara Dewitt. The Co-op follows Lorin and Deacon, and it's dual POV, I'm pretty sure. They knew each other a long time ago, but then things didn't work out between them, haven't seen each other in a long time, and now they're back in the same town, and they have to renovate this house together basically and kind of live together, forced proximity. It's a marriage of convenience as well, because to be able to renovate this house and get the money for this house, they have to get married. Marriage in construction, I think is what it says in front of the book. That's so cute. Anyway, the reason why it reminds me of Beach Read and You Deserve Each Other is because in You Deserve Each Other, you have a couple that really doesn't get along living together in the same house. And Beach Read, because of how deep you get with the characters, like I feel like January and Gus, you get to know them so well, especially January and her past. And that reminds me a lot of how the co-op is written. So I think that if you like these, you'll really like this one. It's not as funny as You Deserve Each Other, but it definitely has some humor in there. It's not like the same exact thing, of course, but they give me the same vibes. That's my sentence for this video. They give me the same vibes. I don't need to explain myself. I mean, I do, and I am. But take my word for it. Another one that combines two books together, I promise this is the last one I'll do that has two in it, but it's Juniper Hill by Devney Perry and Underlocked by Mariana Zapata. If you like both of these, I think you'll like 1% of You by Michelle Gross. This one is one of the most underrated books I've ever seen. And for what? Because it is so good. I will never understand it. I know the cover is not the best, but listen, this book is so good. And it's on Kindle Unlimited, so you don't even need the cover. No excuses. Juniper Hill has grumpy guy falling for the single mom, which is exactly what 1% of You is. And the reason why I put Underlocked is because Elijah reminds me so much of Dex. Like every single second I was reading Elijah, I was thinking of Dex, because they're literally the same person. They both work in tattoo shops. They're both very grumpy, hot, tattooed men. They both fall first. I think if you like Dex, you'll really, really like Elijah, because I swear they're the same. And of course, Juniper Hill, because, you know, having the single mom who works super hard and is having a tough time, and then having the grumpy guy who falls for her and her little family. That's exactly what 1% of You does in the best way. This book is so cute. It's so fluffy. It's so sweet. It just gave everything it needed to give. It really did. It follows Elijah and Hadley. Please, please read it. And last but certainly not least, I have Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Now listen, I know what you're expecting. You're expecting me to talk about Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I'm not going to talk about that one, even though that one is the exact same thing as Love in Other Words. It's literally the same. But I don't want to put that one in here because it's too expected. But yeah, if you like Love in Other Words, you'll probably like Every Summer After, even though I liked Every Summer After, but Love in Other Words remains superior. But that's not the one I'm going to talk about. If you like Love in Other Words, I think you'll like Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. This book is phenomenal. It follows Matt and Gracie, and it's a second chance romance, just like Love in Other Words. It's a friends to lovers, just like Love in Other Words. In Before We Were Strangers, Matt and Gracie meet in college, and you get to see them fall in love, become friends, just absolutely love each other to their core, and then you see something separate them, and then now it's many years later, and they run into each other again, so they get a second chance. And that's exactly what happens in Love in Other Words. Love in Other Words is childhood best friends, whereas Before We Were Strangers is college, but the love Matt and Gracie have for each other really, really remind me of the love that Macy and Elliot have. They're both very emotional. Both of them have very deep topics in it and very deeper reasons as to why they don't talk anymore, and like it's not just something petty. And both of these books gave me the same feeling. Like when I was reading it, I felt really connected to the story. So yeah, I'm not gonna say Every Summer After, even though I knew you were expecting that, because Every Summer After is literally a carbon copy of Love in Other Words. Like it is the same thing. It's the exact same thing. But please read Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino, because this book is phenomenal, and so is Love in Other Words. So that's it, Shawty Bays. I hope you enjoy these recommendations. I hope you read some of these books. If you like one of them, you'll probably like the other one. I just wanted to recommend the underrated ones because those are some of my favorite books that I usually don't get to talk about as much. So any excuse to discuss my favorite books, I'll take. But I love you so much, Shawty Bays. Let me know any other videos you want to see down below, and I shall get it done. I love you, I love you, I love you.